This video is somewhat late. That's just because, I've been out and about. I went to Orlando, spent some time there with the family, went to the event, came back. It was a long process all over a few days. And while this was all happening, um, you see the tabs at the top. A lot of fights got announced for Mrs. Boxing. And the plan originally was I was going to, as each fight got announced, I was going to make a smaller video about each fight. But since we're now 4 fights in and a few days in, and I haven't talked about either one, I'll just talk about the fights that have been announced so far. Starting most recently with Anthony Taylor versus Idris Virgo. Now, if you guys don't know the backstory to this whole fight, they've been going back and forth on Twitter for some time, maybe about longer than a month. So now they're ready to square off. I forgot who called out who, but Taylor definitely went after Virgo for this fight. And why would Virgo deny it? So now they're fighting. And if my mouse would let me, yeah. So this is Anthony Taylor, obviously 7-5 in MMA, but in boxing he's 2-3 professionally. But if we talk about his crossover boxing record, he is 3-4 with 1 draw. He's coming off of a win against Ashley Raksu on Misfits Series 2 undercard. Very dominant win, 30-26 across all 3 judges' scorecards. He also had the exhibition fight with Jack Fincham, which didn't really count toward his record at all, so we're not going to talk about that one. But he did dominate Jack Fincham either way, so it shows that he definitely should be on some kind of 2-fight winning streak or unbeaten streak. He also had that fight with what's his name? Ryan Taylor, who's also on this card. That's my bad. I just forgot. With Ryan Taylor as well. So right now, technically he's 3 fights unbeaten. He's doing pretty decent for himself. He's made a name for himself in the crossover boxing scene. He's gained the respect of the fans recently, and a lot of people would root for him to win this one, but the only issue is with the records, because Idris Virgo here is 12-0 with 1 draw. If we look at his record, a lot of it's points. There's 1 draw here, points, first round knockout, and just a lot of decision wins here, with 1 knockout in the 7th round, which is impressive. He hasn't fought since the end of 2021. That's almost, if we take it in there, he hasn't fought in about a year. Yeah, in like 4 days, he would not have fought in a year professionally. So what that means is, that ring rust being there, Anthony Taylor does have somewhat of a chance, as he's very, very active. He's had multiple fights. He's had 4 fights because of the Ryan Taylor one. He's had 4 fights in 2022. He's had many, many fights in 2021 and in 2020. Just, very active guy not just in the influencer boxing scene, but just in the martial arts scene by itself, or as a whole. Whereas this guy, he was active back a few years ago, but he hasn't fought in some time. So obviously, even though there is ring rust, you can't really downplay the fact that he is 12-0. He is undefeated, and he does have, even though a lot of them are decision wins, he does have a lot of wins. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fight goes. Anthony Taylor is a pretty powerful guy. So, we'll see how. Obviously, I'm not going to say our predictions in this video. I'm going to say it in the predictions video. So, that'll come in the near future. But we move on to the next fight. Ryan Taylor versus Swarms. Now, Ryan Taylor versus Swarms is a mismatch. And you didn't expect me to say that off the bat, but it's true. This fight is a complete mismatch. Okay, if you guys, let's delve into some backstory. Let's look at Swarms first in the blue corner, or in the red corner because it's boxing thing. I don't know. But the guy, the underdog. If we look at Swarms, he fought KSI on the first Misfits card. First Misfits fight ever. Right? Got dominated. Got TKO'd in the 2nd round. It is what it is. fighting someone that's way higher level than you. It happens. Then he was scheduled to fight. Oof, my bad. 2 months later, on the Misfits 2 card, he was gonna fight Kristen Hamby. Kristen Hamby is his record is one draw. That's his record. It's just one draw. It was against Vitali, which is a pretty crazy win because Vitali is double his size. So, I mean, fair play. But we look at that fight, Kristen Hamby versus Swarms, and it's somewhat of an even matchup. But Swarms, a couple weeks before, he pulls out because he didn't have enough experience and he wasn't ready. Okay, fair enough. You definitely didn't show any experience for the KSI fight. You had only trained for about a few weeks, not even a month. So it makes sense that he felt that he needed more time to prepare and wanted to pull out. Now, since there's a motorcycle outside. Now, since that pullout, it's been almost 2 more months. And now he's ready to come back and fight again. But this time, he's not fighting Christian Hamby. He's fighting Ryan Taylor. And Ryan Taylor, if you look at his record here, it's not good. Very bad record. Not a good record. But when you look into these wins more, when you start looking more deep into what happened in each of these fights, when you watch these fights, you start to realize, like, oh, that's why. Because look, the fight with DK Money, I feel like he would have won that either way. Whether or not the headbutt happened, I feel like he would have won regardless. But, it was a disqualification, so we're not going to look at that one. We're going to look at the Anthony Taylor fight and the Slim fight. Anthony Taylor and Slim, two of the more feared opponents or challengers in influencer boxing. Slim being top 5 pound for pound in the world right now. To go on to fight these guys, end up bringing them to a decision, and actually being a challenge for them as well, it's impressive. Very impressive that Ryan Taylor is able to accomplish this. Hasn't gotten a win yet, but it's very likely that Swarms will be his first win. I know I said I wouldn't say no predictions, but I just had to talk about it, This is his only fight was against KSI. TKO loss in the second round. Or I think it was knockout. Nah, but the referee waved it off. Then obviously the cancel fight with Kristen Hamby. And now he's looking to fight Ryan Taylor in January. It has been confirmed that this fight is going to happen. And we can also pretty much confirm that Ryan Taylor is going to win it. Even though I'm always be rooting for the GOAT Swarms, it just doesn't seem likely that he's going to take this fight. Even though I truly, truly hope he does. Now, this is a fight. Incredible fight. Amazing fight. But is it just me? Or look, okay. You have Josh Bruckner versus Salt Poppy. Incredible fight. A fight that a lot of fans actually wanted. Josh Bruckner is a heavyweight. He has the heavyweight. I'm stuttering a lot. Bear with me. He has the international heavyweight title. And I'm going to just let that sink in. Heavyweight. Over 200 pounds. 200 pounds plus. The same weight class or division that had a 320-pound Greg Hardy fight in that weight class, that's the weight class. Heavyweight. Josh Bruckner is he's in between the 210s and 220s. I forgot what weight he was, but he was in between that. Or I think he was between the 200s and 210s. Just somewhere around that. But, wait. Where is it? Does it say his weight? Weight class. Nah, this is from his MMA career. But if we look at Salt Poppy, now we see Salt Poppy fighting heavyweight for the Halal Ham fight, cruiserweight for the Andy Worski fight. But we've never, or let me rephrase that. A lot of you wouldn't expect Saw Poppy is 175 pounds today. Or maybe not today. Maybe he cut, or no, maybe he gained more weight, maybe he lost more weight, but as of last week, he is 175 pounds. He is much more slimmed down. He's lost um a lot of that weight that he had on his body, and he's a lot slimmer now as a 175 pounder, as a light heavyweight. So for him to go on to fight Josh Bruckner and to also be on the left side of this fight, guys, what weight class exactly are they fighting at? They're likely fighting at cruiserweight, so what would that mean for the title? You can't fight for a heavyweight title if you're fighting at 190 pounds. You can't. I think this fight probably won't be for the international heavyweight title. They might make up another title, who knows? But I think this fight is just going to be purely for the sake of having it, instead of for the sake of having Salt Papi challenge Bruckner for the title. Just because of, the weight and the placing of the fighters and everything. That's just my prediction, or what I think is going to happen, is that I don't think they will be fighting for the title. That's it. It's just, I think this will be an amazing fight. They're both coming off of wins. They're both undefeated in influencer boxing. We're not counting MMA fights. So, it's definitely a good fight, and I'm definitely excited for it. There's the Tyron Woodley-Paul Bama fight, unconfirmed rumor as of right now. I truly hope this fight does happen. I wanted Anthony Taylor versus T. Wood, but if Woodley has to fight Paul Bamba, hey, I'm there for that fight too. They're both very good fights. So now we move on to the fight that got announced first on Thursday. It's the last fight I'll be talking about today. Slim versus Tom Zanetti. Now, a lot of people share the same criticisms as me for this fight. Look at Tom Zanetti. Tom Zanetti is definitely feared by some. He had two people pull out on him for his fight that he was supposed to have on Misfits Series 2 against Jack Mean, where he pulled out, and then Jaden King, where he pulled out 2 days before the fight. And now he's fighting Slim. Now, what's the importance of that? Well, Tom Zanetti is 0-0. Undefeated, but also doesn't have any wins. Never fought in influencer boxing. Never fought at all. Not at all. Now, we look at Slim the Hitman. And we look at his fights. Now, he's had 5 fights in influencer boxing. Had 4th round TKO. 1st round TKO. 3rd round brutal knockout. 2nd round brutal knockout, where he won the international light heavyweight title. A war 2 months ago, where he won by comfortable decision still, where he won the world light heavyweight title. Is being challenged by Tom Zanetti, who has not had a single fight, has not proved that he deserves this fight or the 2 titles. But he's fighting Slim for his belts. Why? Why is this fight happening? Why is Salt Papi not fighting Slim, who is a light heavyweight? Why is Face Temper not fighting Slim, who is a light heavyweight? Why not even Brennan Buckingham, who's a light heavyweight? Why are none of these guys who are actually ranked, not even ranked higher, they are actually ranked, which Tom Zanetti isn't? Why are they not fighting for this title instead of Tom Zanetti? And we don't know. Nobody really knows. I mean, everybody's been asking that question. Not on this one. Everybody's been asking that question, like, why is this fight happening? There's much better fights. This is a mismatch, this and that. Some people like the fight. I like the fight. I think it's a fun fight. But, yeah, it's just not a fair matchup. A lot of these people are agreeing with me that it's just not really a fair matchup. Now, maybe Tom Zanetti goes out and proves us all wrong. Maybe he even gets an upset. Maybe he even wins. Maybe he puts on a good show, like Ryan Taylor did. Who knows? We'll see. All I know is it's going to be a fun fight regardless. Even if Tom Zanetti doesn't really deserve that title shot, I'm probably going to make a video about these Misfits boxing title shots because some of them don't make sense. And I guess, we're a bit early into the whole influencer boxing scene. So to have just a few kind of tune-ups, I guess, or fights that don't make too much sense, to have the more popular guys not fight each other too early on, maybe it's a good move. So I'm not going to say too much about it. All I know is these are some exciting fights. 5 fights have been announced so far. We can expect to see a few more, anywhere between 2 to 4 more fights. And KSI did say that they're looking to, if Salt Poppy wins his fight and if Slim wins his fight, they're looking to make them fight each other. They're looking to make that fight happen. So that's an exciting one as well. If Salt Poppy can get past Josh Bruckner, which will be tough for him, and if Slim will get people their money by beating Tom Zanetti, which he is expected to do, then that fight will happen next. But yeah, a lot of fun fights, even if some of them are kind of mismatches. It's gonna be a fun event. It's taking place in about a month now. Yeah, it's taking place in a month. And the reason it's taking place in January and not December is because a lot of these cards have been later into the month, like August 28th, October 15th, November 19th. And if they just did the same for December, it would not be too good because it's right next to Christmas and it's right like winter break and finals for schools and not finals, midterms. Just this and that, doesn't make too much sense. So I guess it makes a lot more sense why they had it instead in mid-January. So yeah, those are the fights. I already talked about KSI vs. Dylan Dennis. You can go look at it in my past videos that I've made, and can't wait.